Psychology is all around us. Psychological elements can be seen throughout the lifespan, from birth until death. Films are a wonderful tool to explain psychological theory and occurrences in our lives. Characters interact within each frame of film psychological concepts. The films we remember most and view multiple times engage us by capturing the presence of these psychological dynamics in an authentic way. Please join me today, Dr. Katherine Marshall Woods, media psychologist and film consultant, and our guest today, Stacey Larkins, with her film Cation, Spawn Ahead, on the best psychology in film. Welcome, everyone. My name is Dr. Katherine Marshall Woods, back to Best Psychology in Film. Today, we have the beautiful opportunity to speak with filmmaker Stacey Larkins regarding her short film, Cation, Spawn Ahead. Nice to see you. Well, Stacey, tell us a little bit about the film.
Okay, so Caution Spawn Ahead is an experimental film. It's experimental in form. It's in form of a banned children's book. So it's told in rhyme, like a Dr. Seuss book, and it serves as a warning to the MAGA mindset, kind of like a warning that parents would have, like let's say Black parents would have for their children. Different injustices they may face. Like if you could stop by like a police officer or something, what potentially could happen. So kind of that framework under the Caution Spawn Ahead. It presents a theory as to why Trump has gotten so far. And it gives it from like a historical perspective from when Obama came in office. So it just explores the period of time when Trump was in office, first time he was in office, why he's there now. But it's a theory, from my perspective. And it focuses a lot on the comparisons between Obama and Trump, which are pretty much like the antithesis of each other. So that's pretty much the premise.
Wonderful. Well, let our audience have a moment to catch up and watch a clip, and we'll talk about it a little more on the other side. Stick with us.
It's a minefield. There's so many, we'll probably get blown up.
Off to years 2016 through 2020.
Put your seatbelts on.
And masks up.
Because the stress will be plenty.
Years of our lives read like a Shakespearean tragedy, fit with a delusional mad king and a gun-yielding Elmer Fudd cult following.
A two-term Obama presidency was too much to take.
In the years he was in office brewed resentment that grew mountains of hate.
From the depths of reality TV hell, Trump emerged and was voted in place.
You're fired.
They preserved the belief that whites are the superior race.
That's the problem. They fear being erased.
Down the rabbit hole we go, straight to the ringleader and his circus show.
For the logical unaware, it's been an endless, surreal nightmare.
Red hats with white lettering, dance in the sky, enormous and obnoxious Trump banners on yards and pickup trucks will fly high.
We're imprisoned by misspelled maniacal tweets on TV, social media, newspapers, and on the streets. An angry tweet here, a derogatory tweet there. We're now living in the land of tweets.
Stacey, this film is so compelling. When I saw it, it was just really the narratives that individuals of color, I find, talk about political aspects of what's happening in the world. Can you share a little bit about your motivation to create this film in particular, especially now?
The motivation was back when Trump was running the first time, I was losing my mind during the whole process. I mean, I was on Facebook constantly posting, constantly writing, and just appalled. I was like, what is this? How is this person getting this far? I mean, he just kept going and was able to just, be as corrupt as can be and inarticulate as can be and everything else. And I was just amazed at like this guy. I'm like, I was thinking he would never win, never. And the obsession, I had literally an obsession with what was happening. And so that sort of triggered this entire film. It's like he's saying and doing so much wrong, and yet he's succeeding. And why? And so then, it's just like taking a step back as to how he was able to get this far and still, where we are right now.
hmm it's fascinating when you said earlier describing this film, and if you're just joining us, Stacey, you noted that it's sort of written like a warning to children. Tell me a little bit about that as well. That really, actually, I found it also equally warning for individuals who may be politically unaware or not in tune or kind of just wanting to shut out the noise.
Right. Yeah, it serves as both purposes. I just put it in the form, of a children's book because it's just, I really wanted to say to the youth to inform them what is happening so that you can't fall. You're aware of everything that's happening and how much hate um, has led him to succeed. So the basis, in my opinion, is that he's gotten as far as he's been able to unifying hate and where it leads, and just to be aware of the tactics and aware of the hypocrisies and how much people don't want, they want you to know, how much they want to leave you in the dark and be ignorant to what's going on. So it's just about an awareness, like an awareness. Like, so that was the purpose. But like you said earlier, it serves for both for children or people that are politically unaware. And sometimes it's more adult, like I know there's a few things, but yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting because one of the reasons why I thought your film was effective is that it's simplified. And I did not realize that, you were like for youth, et cetera. And I could see why it would be appealing to a person of a younger age, but, I'm of a certain age. And it was very appealing to me as well. It made these issues very clear. It made it very understandable, very digestible, as well as entertaining. When you wrote this, because it is written like a children's book in rhyme, it's very poetic in that capacity. And I had to ask, are you a poet? Or like, how did this come about where
Oh,
you were successfully able to create a script like this in that cadence?
I am not a poet. I do write a lot. Initially, when I was writing it, it was supposed to be a play, like a short play. So that's my initial premise. And then later, I'm like, I can make a film about it. It's relevant, especially right now. But I am not. But I do love to write.
Well, it certainly shows within this work. I'm not familiar with your work, prior work or current work. Is it similar in political strivings and being able to really examine what's happening politically?
The majority of my stuff is similar to this. I do have some other thing. Most of the stuff I've done is social justice issues. Um, so it does fall in line, and it also has like it's presented in in experimental form. It's a little offbeat. Most of the stuff that I do, but I do like to make statements about things that bother me or injustices or so it definitely falls in line with other films that I've done. Most of them.
The one thing that we talk about on this show quite frequently is the act that filmmakers use sublimation, that this psychological concept that we talk about, which is like something hurts us or something gives us some level of pain or discomfort, and we create and use art and share that with the world, and then we feel better. And we also like lend that pain to other people and recreate it into something beautiful. But it seems like this film was so cathartic to make, and I'm wondering if that was the case. Like this gave you such a platform to be able to talk about these injustices and like these curiosities you have about how this president had gotten so far, the theory that you had, it seemed very cathartically done. And I'm wondering if that was the case at all.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even now, today I just in preparation for the interview, I rewatched it, and it was hard for me to watch like parts of it, yeah, and because of where we are right now. And but yeah, it's getting out everything that I feel. I mean, I definitely have strong opinions, and I like to. I think there's something to say about stating them and using your voice to be heard. And but it was very, very cathartic. I mean, I got to really like review and uh, everything from my perspective and how we got there. But like I said, it was hard. Sometimes I rewatch it, or I'm sitting there watching it at a film screening, and it can even bother me it bothers me watching what I put out there, but it's my truth or truth. Yeah.
Right, right. Well, I did have the opportunity to see your film at a film festival. Unfortunately, I had to leave before I could hear your Q&A. I did wonder how people and how this is landing on people, considering, like you mentioned, where the nation is at this point.
I think so far it's been fine, but it's depending on where it's being screened, you know. So if like recently it was in New York City at the Lower East Side Film Festival, and it got a very positive response. And then I had another festival where people were a little bit quiet. And I mean, I expect a lot of times the stuff that I do, I'm just very truthful, which sometimes people don't like. They don't like the truth. They want to hide in their own thoughts. And so if I'm presenting the truth, it can be very difficult for some people to listen to, especially if they support him. But so far it's been pretty good. But I definitely have had situations where it was just quiet. I
Mhm.
expect that, and that's okay.
Yeah. I have met, and I suppose by the nature of my job, I meet a number of creatives. And I remember at the onset of Trump's presidency, people really being concerned about putting specific information out in public and things of sort. And then I walk into this film screening at a film festival and see your film and think, how brave of this filmmaker to be placing this out when a lot of creatives are really rethinking their freedoms and being able to communicate these very important thoughts and feelings they have about our political position currently. And I'm wondering about how you are feeling about your courageous act of doing so, as well as what may transpire as a result, since you noted this is like a banned book.
Right, right. No, I've definitely thought about it a few times. And at one of the festivals, there was a Q&A about it, and a lot of the audience was like, you need to put this online. Like, people need to see this. This needs to go online. And I'm like, oh, I don't necessarily know if I put the whole film online because of how, yeah, what the climate is like right now. So it did play, but I started writing it way before he had a second, turn. He came back. So, but yeah, no, it's definitely seeming like, a concern for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at our time, and we have to take a time for a break. But when we come back, we'll continue to speak with Stacey Larkins regarding this beautiful written film, and very interesting the way that is shown as well. Um, Caution, spawn ahead. Stick with us, and we'll be right back.
At UDC, we turn potential into power. Located in the nation's capital, we empower both local and international students. As a proud HBCU and the only land-grant university in Washington, D.C., we combine a legacy of excellence with a forward-thinking approach. We prepare tomorrow's leaders to drive innovation and create global impact. When the world needs change, it will find it at UDC.
Welcome back, everyone, to Best Psychology in Film. I'm your host, Dr. Katherine Marshall Woods, and today we have the pleasure of speaking with Stacey Larkins regarding her film, Cation, Spawn Ahead. Welcome back to the show, Stacey.
Thank you.
This film, we've talked a little bit about how it has a heavy political voice to it, and how it's written in a very children as well as adult friendly way. Again, I even would say that it's very poetically done. And we talked a little bit about also being at film festivals and doing Q&As and how it's landing with individuals considering our current political climate. And I'm wondering, have you seen within this time of screening your films, if this film is actually helping bring people together to be able to have conversations regarding their concerns about our political position at this time?
I'm not sure if it's definitely sparked dialogue, that's for sure. I don't know if it's bringing anyone together. I mean, there's one film festival, a conversation that was spurred by the film is that I personally don't think that my film is going to sway anybody that supports him. So I mean that I think anyone that's a major supporter of MAGA or Trump, they wouldn't care anything about what I did, because obviously he's done so many things, and he's so corrupt that there still will follow. But I think it might offer some perspective to some people that are maybe not a person of color. I mean, maybe in a way we could possibly potentially see how horrifying it is for us to have someone like that in office. So I think it gives perspective. I don't necessarily think it's going to change anyone's minds that support him. But my hope is that it will, that dialogue, meaningful dialogue, can come from it.
When I was watching the film, and again, I shared earlier, is that I was unfortunately not able to see the Q&A and hear your voice at that film festival talk about the film and to hear other individuals' inquiries about the film. But I was there with someone, and we both left together and had a long conversation about what we were watching. Again, a lot about, again, how brave we thought that you were with putting this film out, given the content of it, but also how it is done. It definitely awakens a part of an individual to be curious about political positions, even if they are not, as well as it's hard when someone is providing a film like this to have your head in the sand. It actually kind of jolts you out of the sand if you are, or like, oh, someone else may see things in a similar way, or I really just don't agree with this person at all. But it almost, when I was talking to the person, I said, for individuals who are kind of, I'm in denial. I don't really want to think about what's going on. I don't maybe like it, but I don't know what to think about it. I thought your film was a helpful vehicle to be able to share with people. Other people are feeling this way. Other people are thinking this way. And it's okay to have a conversation about it. It almost felt like a permission slip for some people. I was wondering if you noted, during Q&A as bringing about dialogue. I'm wondering if some of that dialogue is really kind of a thank you to you for actually putting this out to have these sorts of conversations.
I don't necessarily feel that it was. I hope it was a thank you. I mean, that would be nice. I don't necessarily think that it was, but it did spur more conversations than I thought. And really showed a lot of people demonstrating distaste for what's happening right now. So it was nice to see in a space and people that you don't know feeling the same way that you feel. And maybe even people that that, I'm an African American woman that aren't there from other races that agree, with you. And that unity, I mean, seeing that was very nice, at least for me.
So, this film is a short, and some individuals desire to make their shorts into features. Is this one of them?
Oh no. I would not, I would definitely not. It's, I kind of went back and forth on doing it in the first place. And many people are put off by, political things. That's why I was trying my best to make it somewhat entertaining and not really preachy, but maybe in some ways it was. Um, but yeah, as a feature, I probably would stay away from doing a feature like this.
Understood, understood. I do think the small dose of it is probably maybe what people can be able to withstand because it is very much like this is, as you noted, a truth. And I'm challenging you on being able to think about what that truth might be in our situation currently. You know, it's interesting. You noted that previously in your work generally has a political stance to it or social injustices. And I'm wondering, as a filmmaker, why that's also an important aspect to the process of creating films. We talk to a lot of filmmakers on this show, and they all have different genres they like to attend to, horror or romance or what so have you. Why social injustices? Why is that important for audiences to see on films?
Um, because they can reflect how they fit into the scheme of things, like where do they stand? I mean, and how it affects other people. Like so often, most people are kind of consumed in their own world, and they don't see what it would be like, for a person of color or an African American, the kind of things that we might be presented with that they other people may not. So it's yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. Like, and what was the last? I forgot the. I was in the middle of saying I forgot the last.
No, it's okay. I was just asking, people, filmmakers have all sorts of genres. Why
Oh,
is this one important?
yes, and also I'm really passionate about it. So I have opinions and I have something to say, and I think film is a great medium to do that. So it's really more or less of more about me releasing my frustration in film about things that are going on in the world. Because like I said, most people are kind of to them, in their own world, and they're not really sometimes seeing what it's like from someone else's perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. You said it's a medium for you to release some of your frustrations, and it's also a way for, again, to educate the public. You noted that children could watch this film and kind of get an awareness of what's happening politically, begin to think about the affect and the impact of hate, for an example, being brought on into communities, into a nation, and how fueling hate can be, and how people can kind of become magnetized to that, even blinded by
Yes.
that.
Right.
It's interesting because I don't hear many filmmakers talking about that youth could be really impacted by their work in that capacity. Have you had any opportunities yet, in particular, to be able to bring it to youth? And are they also having a similar conversation that's being sparked from it as well?
Well, the problem with in terms of like presenting something like, well, I'm thinking about it maybe from a teacher perspective. I am a teacher, also. So now it's very difficult to present or discuss anything politically in environments with school. But this would have to be outside of school. It couldn't be like in a school environment because it's too tough to, people have strong opinions about what's going on now and about Trump or whether you're for him or against him and MAGA and everything. And so it's difficult to get that message out, at least in school form. It would have to be outside of. So this, a topic like this, it would be very difficult, to present at all, in a school setting, but maybe in another setting, it can work.
Yeah. Well, I have the luxury of working with filmmakers who do bring their films into various different settings, academic locations, elsewhere, kind of touring their film. And I could see how this film could be very educational. I mean, what you're really documenting an aspect of our history that many people, I feel like, are talking about, but you do so in a way that is inviting, again, and also quite entertaining and in a way that an individual could have no knowledge of what's going on politically and be able to look at it and say, now what's happening? It
Right.
could definitely spark really the initial curiosity that people have about what's happening. And that is one of the reasons why I really wanted to bring this film to the show. In part is that, we all watch news and things like that from time to time, and some people are more engaged than others. Some people choose not to watch the news. But this film, even if you don't watch the news, it would be a wonderful opportunity to catch up with what's happening
Yeah.
in America, really.
Yeah, no, I understand, especially you're talking about watching the news after he was elected in office. I find it impossible to watch. I mean, every time I get snippets, it's always something else, and it can drive you crazy. Is it's unbelievable. It's like surreal. This is where we are. I mean, it's unreal.
Well, it's so wonderful how you showed that actually visually when you said it drives you insane. And then I'm thinking about the swirling circles
Right.
in your film and things like that. So, when you watch this film, audience, you'll get to see the feeling that comes along with actually how, Stacey, what you're saying of watching the news and feeling like what's happening here, how you kind of get placed into this Alice in Wonderland in your film. Um, it's almost like, where am I? What reality am I in? And the experimental aspect of the film really brings you into that playfulness, but also the anxiety and the concern that comes with it as well. So you're holding both affective experiences at the same time, like this person skipping in the subway and dressed really cute. And then you have like what you're saying and what she's saying, you're like, wait a minute, like
Right. Part
scary.
of this was when I was putting it together is I wanted to make it as crazy as I possibly could because that's how I feel. Like all of it's crazy. Like it's stuff that he's saying in tweets and him berating everyone and just all of it's just not about you just don't when you look at him Trump, it's not a person you would think would be in office. That would be a president. He's doing everything opposite, and he's there, and it's just like you're like, what's happening? So I tried my best in that to make it like a little offbeat, a little crazy because it is crazy.
Thank you so much for coming on. We will see you next time on Best Psychology in Film. If you want to reach me, find me on Instagram at Psychominded Media. We'll see you next time with the wonderful opportunity to speak to more filmmakers and talk about psychology as well. Have a good one.